Hey, Suncheon is a small southern Korean city that basically willed itself into a tourist destination by turning a swamp into a garden and then building a monorail to a sunset view that shows up on postcards across the country. The tricky part isn't whether to go, it's getting the timing wrong, showing up at the wetland at noon, or blowing half a day on logistics you could have sorted in 10 minutes. I mapped out the whole 2 days into a template. Grab it from the link in the description if you want the route ready to go. Spring here means 12 to 22 degrees, cherry blossoms, 3 million flowers across the National Garden, and migratory cranes still hanging around before they head north. Basically, the one season where every single stop is operating at full capacity. Day 1 is Suncheon's ecological greatest hits. You start at the garden that made this city famous, ride a monorail above the reed fields, and end at a wetland observatory watching the sunset turn everything gold. Suncheon Bay National Garden is the reason most people come here. It's Korea's first national garden, built in 2013 for an international exposition, and it covers over 1 million square meters with themed zones and 3 million spring flowers. The whole thing was originally built to protect the wetland next door, but 3 million annual visitors later, Suncheon has become Korea's self-declared ecological capital, a city that staged managed nature so well it became the main event. Walk across the Dream Bridge. It's covered in drawings by 145,000 children from around the world, and then lose yourself in the Lakeside Garden, which was designed by Charles Jennings and looks like a land art installation that accidentally became a park. Book your ticket online ahead of time because walk-up lines compete with tour groups. And get here early. The garden is big enough that a fast walkthrough takes 3 hours, and you want to be at the Skycube before the queue builds. The Skycube is a driverless monorail pod that seats 6 and glides above the reed fields between the National Garden and the Wetland Reserve. It's public transit with the energy of a theme park ride. The ride is only about 10 minutes, but the windows are huge and you rise above the tree line, suddenly seeing the full scale of the wetlands stretching toward the coast. It's the moment where the geography of this place actually clicks. They cap tickets at 200 per half-hour window, so weekends between 11 and 2 can mean a serious wait. If the queue's long, just ride it one way toward the wetland and grab a taxi or bus back later. The Skycube runs on a fixed schedule, reportedly until 5 or 6 depending on season, so check the closing time before you head into the wetland, because missing the last ride means calling a taxi through a reed field. Suncheon Bay Nature Reserve is a Ramsar-listed wetland with Korea's largest reed field, an 8,000-year-old tidal ecosystem, and an S-shaped stream that shows up in more photographs than probably any other landscape in the country. The raised boardwalk winds through the reeds and takes 30 to 40 minutes to reach the main observatory. When wind moves through the field, the entire thing sways and rustles, and the silence between bird calls is louder than you'd expect. This wetland was nearly destroyed by development before a conservation fight in the 2000s saved it. The National Garden was actually built partly to divert tourist traffic away from this fragile ecosystem. Get to the observatory before sunset and stay for the last 20 minutes of light. The reeds and the water turn the same golden color, and the S-curve is only visible from up here, not from the boardwalk below. Day 2 flips from ecology to history and culture. A 600-year-old walled village where people still live, a forest temple with Korea's most photographed stone bridge, and then a film set that's basically fake vintage Seoul. Nagan Eupseong Folk Village is the only remaining walled Joseon-era town in Korea. The fortress walls went up in 1397 to fend off pirate raids, and roughly 100 households still live inside them today. Unlike Korea's more famous folk villages, which are basically open-air museums, this one is real. The thatched roof hanok houses are actual homes, the dirt roads aren't paved for tourists, and the absence of modern signage is genuinely disorienting. Walk the full fortress wall circuit because it gives you a 360-degree panorama of the village, surrounded by rice paddies and mountains. The wall path is exposed and breezy, so bring a layer even in spring. Get here in the morning before the tour buses arrive, because early enough you can hear roosters. The village is small enough that 2 hours covers it, which leaves your afternoon open for Seonamsa. Seonamsa is a UNESCO-listed Buddhist temple tucked into the slopes of Joseon Mountain, founded in the 6th century and rebuilt after the Japanese invasions of the 1590s. And the reason you come here is Seungseon Bridge. That bridge was built between 1713 and 1719 by a monk who spent 6 years on it. A dragon's head carved under the arch faces upstream to scare off evil spirits, and after 300 years, the spirits seem to have gotten the message. The approach is a forest trail where you hear the stream before you see the bridge, and then the bridge reflection in the water forms a perfect circle. Spring wildflowers along the banks make the whole walk feel deliberately composed. Take the shuttle bus from the parking area to the entrance because the walk is long if you're already tired, and check the return schedule so you're not waiting around for a ride back. The Suncheon Open Film Set is a working backlot that recreates Korean streets from the 1960s through the 1980s. Over 87 films and dramas have shot here, including Pachinko, Casino, and East of Eden. It's not a theme park, it's an actual film set where storefronts have signs, alleys have laundry hanging, and shantytown corrugated metal is dressed and redressed for each new production. Sometimes you can smell fresh paint from the last rebuild. After a morning in a real 600-year-old village and an afternoon at a real 1400-year-old temple, walking through a 20-year-old fake Seoul built for television is a weird and satisfying way to close the day. Get here by 4 in the afternoon because last admission is 5 and golden hour light on the facades is the best photo opportunity. Bring cash too, since some food stalls don't take card. 2 days in Suncheon and you've walked through a garden that reshaped a city's identity, stood above an 8,000-year-old wetland at sunset, and wandered through 6 centuries of real and invented Korean history. Not bad for a place most travelers skip on the way to Busan. I put the full 2-day Suncheon route into a template with a map view so you can drag things around and make it yours. The link's in the description. If you've been to Suncheon or you're planning a trip, drop your favorite stop or the one you'd cut in the comments.